Hey everybody, and welcome back to Make It with Mod Podge. I'm Steve Piacenza. Have you ever had one of those days where you feel like you're burning a candle from both ends? Well, we do too sometimes. So today, Cathie's going to show you 8 different candle makeovers. These are super cool, really easy to do, and Cathie's gonna show you how to do that right now. So Cath, take it away.
Thank you, Steve. That was such a cute intro, and thank you all for joining us today. I'm Cathie Fillion, and like Steve said, this is Make It with Mod Podge, your one-stop shop for all things Mod Podge. Today, we've got 8 different quick techniques for altering candles, and you can use these candles for all sorts of things for the holidays. You can decorate your home with them. You can give them as gifts. These make great neighbor gifts, or office worker gifts, or friend gifts. So let's just dive right into them. I'm gonna show you how you can use Epsom salts to create this really cute snowy look. We're gonna be working with some glitters and some papers and some napkins. If anyone's been watching recently, you know that Steve and I have been on a huge napkin kick. So we did manage to sneak in one napkin project. I'm gonna start with our easiest one. Actually, these are all super easy, but I'm sure some of you have seen these battery operated votives. I've got little kids, so I love using these. You just turn them on and they're battery operated candles. They're kind of boring like this. So what you wanna do is just go ahead and cut a strip of paper. Any kind of holiday paper will do. Of course, you can use this for any holiday. And you want that paper to fit up and down on your candle there and go all the way around with a little bit of overlap. And for today's projects, I'm going to be using 2 different formulas. The Mod Podge matte. We've been using a lot of gloss lately. Matte is one of my favorite formulas, and satin also. Matte is not as shiny. It's kind of nice for the holidays because we've got so much other glitz going on. So you get a little bit of the matte and then the glitz with your ribbons and stuff. We're also going to be using the Mod Podge Extreme Glitter. So with the matte, we're just going to apply the matte Mod Podge to the back of our paper. You want to be pretty liberal. You want to make sure you get all of those edges. Just apply it to the back like that. And then we're going to wrap it around our votive. Literally, it doesn't get any easier than this. Now, like I said at the beginning, this is a battery operated votive. You have a little bit of time to kind of shimmy it into position and overlap it and press real good on that seam to press down, just like so. Okay, then if you are doing a larger project, you might want to wait a few minutes before you top coat it, but since this is small, I'm going to go ahead and top coat it. So to top coat it, you want to go in one direction. You don't want to paint all over, just one direction with that matte formula. And it looks a little shiny right now, but that's going to dry really pretty and matte. And that is how easy it is to do one of these. And I want to show you it finished. This is all dried. And I just added a little bit of some gold tinsel around there, just to add a little bit of fun pop to it. Let's see if we get that turned on. Look how cute those are. You could do these at each person's place setting, if you're having a holiday dinner or something like that. Now I've got another one that I'm doing with paper, and that is a jar candle. So these jar candles, I picked up, I think it was 3 for $10 at a craft store. And for these, what I want to talk about is scrapbook paper. So I used some big giant scrapbook paper and I just cut it down to size. So what you're going to do on your candle is just measure the flat part of your candle, and mine worked out to be 3 inches. So I cut my paper to 3 inches to fit around the candle, just like so. And we're gonna apply the Mod Podge the same exact way. Super simple. Well, before we do it, should we take a look at some of our embellishments that we added? So one of the things that's cool about this is we did get our paper down, but then you can really load them up with picks. This is a few different ones. I cut pieces and parts off of it. So of the picks, you can see, you can just take 1 or 2 sprigs from these and really get creative. Get your paper down, then add your bows, add all of it, whatever style you love, add a whole bunch or just add one little tiny one, whatever is your style. So for the paper, so I peeled off the label although our paper is going to end up covering it, I did go ahead, I soaked it in water and I tried to peel it off and I didn't get it all the way off. It just would not come off. So you can use chemicals and stuff to get it off, but we're going over it, so I'm not gonna worry about it. So we're gonna use that same matte formula, and again, applying it all over the back of our paper. And since this one's a little bit bigger, I'm gonna wait like 15 minutes before I top coat it, because that helps prevent wrinkles. It gives that backing a chance to dry on little tiny projects like little votives or little projects that might be like a little necklace pendant or something. It's not as important. So let's see, we want that to be in our back, so we'll go ahead and position this right onto the candle, just like so. And I like to pick it up and gently wrap that around. Again, same thing as the votive. I had a little overlap there. Let's go ahead and press that down. Let's get that into position. You've got a little bit of time to work with it and just kind of smooth it with your hands. I like to kind of wrap around just like this. Just really press down so you, excuse me, so that you don't get any air bubbles. Just pressing down. Now, I would set this aside, let it dry for like 15 minutes. The same way I top coated that votive, you'll just go right in and top coat it. One trick I want to show you is if you go over it, you can just use a little baby wipe or a wet paper towel. I always have these around. So let's say that I was doing my top coating. I'm just gonna do a little cheat here and show you. And let's say I went over like that. While it's wet, go in and wipe that glass clean, okay? Because wherever you get the Mod Podge, it is going to make a mark. You will see it a little bit. So to get that sort of extra professional look, just go ahead and wipe it while it's wet, and it's going to look like a boutique candle, just like that. So fast, right? Okay, let's get on to our next one. Oh, shall we take one quick final look again? So this is how it looks when it's got all of its cute bells and whistles. You could add a bow. You could even do a circle on the top. You know, the sky's the limit. I just want to really show you how you can take one of these candles from the store and what you can do with it with just a little bit of Mod Podge and some scrapbook paper. So let's set this one aside to dry. And which one should we do next, guys? Well, let me show you this one. So this one we're not going to make on camera, but so this isn't a jar candle, but this is a candle holder. So same kind of concept. Went around it with my paper. Now this one I did not top coat with the Mod Podge, okay? Because it has so much metallic in the paper, sometimes if you go over it with the Mod Podge matte, it might cloud that up. So I decided not to top coat it. So you want to test with your papers. If you've got something that has a lot of metallic in it like this, you may not want to top coat it, and that's fine, okay? So you can just test with your papers and see, but look how cute that is when you have it all. I added a little pom-pommy and fringe trim there. So it's just, you can just really add anything that you want to them. It's so fun and easy. So now I want to show you how we do this really beautiful chunky glitter. Now this glitter is so cool. It's not like, it's almost like little, let's see if I can, little pieces of chunky metal. I think it's supposed to look like faux German glass, like vintage German glass. It is not glass, so I'm not exactly sure what it is. I got it at one of the big craft stores, and it was so cool. I was like, ooh, I need to make something with this. So let's go ahead and show how we did that one. So for this one, I just have a votive that comes with a candle already pre-melted in it. And these are awesome as gifts. You could do a set of 3 of these and give them to somebody as a present, and they would be so happy. I'm gonna go ahead and open up that glitter, put our paper here, and then for this one, I'm gonna go ahead, sometimes when I'm doing the glitters, I like to go ahead and use the sparkle formulas. This is the extreme glitter, so this one has the most glitter that is fine glitter. Okay, so there's a sparkle formula, and then there's the extreme glitter formula. So this one has a lot of glitter in it. So I'm gonna just go ahead and brush that on the candle. I should say the outside of the candle. Brush it on. And in a second, I'm gonna show you what this formula looks like if you don't actually sprinkle any glitter on it, because this formula is beautiful on its own. I've got 2 examples of that I want to show you. Just go ahead and brush that on. You can see I got my warning label price tag on the bottom there. Normally I would take that off. Okay, then you just sprinkle your glitter on, tap off. And one of the reasons why I like to use the glitter formulas with this is sometimes, for me, I like to have a little bit of those holes popping through, a little bit of texture there. So it's nice to see that base of glitter under there. Just go ahead and keep sprinkling it. If you were doing this on a larger candle holder, you might need to do a small section, or I guess it would be a larger section if it was larger. You might need to do a larger section and then tap off, let it dry, and then work your way around. But for small votive, you can usually do it all in one. And if you need to, where your hands are, just go in and add a little extra there at the top. There we go. Now tap off. And now you're gonna just set this aside and let it dry. You can add a ribbon around that, whatever. This is a real candle, so you do wanna be a little bit careful what extra things you might put on there. But look at that sparkles. Let me show you that when it's dry. And this glitter is so fun, chunky glitter. We're gonna be answering questions live, so I will drop the store names and places where I got things in the comments. If you guys have any questions, please ask away. These projects are super beginner friendly, so you may not have a lot of questions, but we still want to say hi to you and hear from you. So let us know where you're from. Let us know if you've made any candle crafts. Just, you know, whatever you want to say, ask away. So I want to show you this one over here. So remember when we were doing our glitter one and I was putting the extreme glitter formula down? That's the one with the shiny label there. This is what it looks like dried. I hope you guys can see that glitter. That's what it looks like dried if you don't put any more glitter on top of it. It's got so much sparkle. So that is it brushed on the outside. So these are great. These are really sweet for weddings too, if you want to do something at each person's place setting or something like that. So the other cool thing is last week we did, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? So we've got new videos every Thursday for Make It With Mod Podge. So sometimes I like to refer back to something that we made. So I will drop a link for this video. We did a recycled glass video where we were doing tinting and glittering of all different types of glass that was either headed for the thrift store, bought at the thrift store, or jars that were headed to my recycle bin. And this is one of them. So this was one of those just globe 99-cent store things, vases, and the inside we painted with that same extreme glitter formula and then just filled it up with those marbles. So this was a different technique, it was a pouring technique. So I will drop a link and you will see how we made this one too, but it's that same formula and so much sparkle, it's so pretty. I think this would be great for like New Year's Eve also because it's just got so much going on. Now here's another cool way you can do a globe like this and just do halfway. So for this one, I just did my Mod Podge halfway up and you can see I didn't do a straight line. Now I did that on purpose. If you wanted a straight line, let's see if I've got some here. Here we go. If you wanted a straight line, you could tape it off and be perfect, but I kind of wanted that sort of organic, a little bit messy shape. And for this one, we used this really cool, chunky, kind of burst glitter. So that's a much bigger piece, but it's the same exact technique as what we did here. So I just brushed it on and sprinkled that on and then let it dry. This is great. For this, you could put water in it and put a floating candle in it if you wanted. You could fill it up with some fairy lights, whatever you want to do. And I love this rose pink color for Christmas. It's just so pretty. Now, I want to show you our salt candle. So our Epsom salt candle is really fun. Let's pour this back in before I make a glitter mess everywhere. And then everyone will be like, oh, I've got glitter all over the place. Wonder where that came from, guys. So this candle is really more of a decorative candle. So this one is our Epsom salt candle. And for this one, we're using the matte formula. You can burn this candle, but you wouldn't want to burn it to where the salt is. So if you're looking to make some candles to maybe decorate your mantle or a centerpiece, this is a beautiful decorator candle. It smells gorgeous. It's a cinnamon candle. Again, these make great gifts. So you're just gonna start with a plain real wax candle, okay? And I'm using Epsom salt. So I've got a pile of my salt here. If you want it sparkles pretty good on its own. It's got some fun ways that the light kicks up with it. But you could also add a little glitter to this if you wanted to. So I'm going to create like a little snowy scene. So I'm just going to apply my Mod Podge directly to the candle. And as you can see, I'm not being super neat. You don't need to be. You want to get a thick coating there, okay? You want a nice thick bit of it. And on that candle, that was one coat. You could do sort of an ombre look by doing a real light coat at the top and working your way down. Or you could do two coats if you want a really thick look. But I think you get pretty good look with the one coat. But it's a personal thing. Again, if you wanted to do a straight line, you could tape off. But I sort of like more that snowdrift look. So I kind of like to add a few different levels there. Go ahead and add that down. And then it's as simple as sort of tapping and rolling in the salt. And if you miss a spot, okay, like right there, I feel like we have a little spot missing. Go ahead and add a little extra. Oops, I'm spilling Mod Podge, guys. Something new, right? I think I spill Mod Podge every day. There we go. Now, this part, you can kind of just go ahead and do that. I usually wait until it's dry to tap off, but I just want to show you what that sort of organic snowy line looks like. Just like that. So now I'm gonna set this aside, I'm gonna let it dry. Once it's dry, again, because this is kind of a display candle, you could burn it, but you wouldn't wanna burn it very long because first of all, you definitely don't wanna catch your ribbons on fire, right? But you don't wanna get to the salt part. So if you've got some really cool candle holders or something that you wanna display a beautiful candle, this is a really fun way to create a little snowy scene for your house. And I've got one last candle I want to show you, and that is our napkin candle. So let me go ahead and get prepped out for that. Let's move our messy salt before I create a bigger mess. I have, for this project, it's that same jar candle from the craft store, and you're going to need a light colored candle. So you're going to want to smell. Okay, this one is like citrus and clove, I think. So vanilla, sometimes they call it linen breeze or something like that. You're gonna need a light colored candle so that the colors of your napkin pop. And this is the candle that I'm gonna show you how I'm making. So this has got a napkin here to create our buffalo check in green. Okay, so I've just got some napkin. And then for that label there, that label is done. One of my favorite things about scrapbook paper is many times you can find scrapbook paper that has different types of motifs on it. So for this one, you get a whole bunch of different designs. And for my candle, I chose the hot cocoa and sweaters one. So you can see that's missing from there. So if you're looking for like labels or things that you can add to these candles, check out the scrapbook paper aisle. There's always things like this. You can also look for those large books or pads of scrapbook paper to create a really coordinated look, and they almost always have a few sheets in there that have varying sizes of tags or what you would think of as little printables, that kind of thing. So for our napkin, I'm using a larger size napkin. You'll want to gauge it like cocktail size napkins. The little squares might not work so great on the big candles. They're perfect on the votives, beautiful. So you'll open up your napkin completely, and then you're going to remove all the plies that are not printed. So what you're left with is one napkin ply and only the printed part. And you're going to need enough of it that you can wrap it around your candle, just like so, okay? And for this one, I can see here, I probably don't need, I only need it to about there. So I'm gonna go ahead and tear. You can cut it or you can tear it. If you tear it, it'll create sort of a feathered effect and it will blend the seam together. And what I mean by that is once we have it wrapped around, that torn edge will blend away more than just a hard cut edge, okay? So for this one, let's go ahead. We're gonna use the matte formula. You can use gloss. I'm just working with matte today. I did like 3 videos in a row with gloss and I felt like my other formulas were getting a little bit like, hey, aren't you gonna use us? So let's go ahead and add our gloss directly to our jar candle. And remember, like I said a minute ago, you have to use a light colored jar candle. If you had a dark colored one because you just love that scent, you would need to paint it white first. But what happens is you don't get that glow coming through. And that's what makes this really so pretty, is when it's lit and you have the glow coming through. So for this project, I like to only do half at a time. Let's see if we can get that to balance. And I'm gonna go ahead and spray my napkin. I wanna get it into position. I know I wanna line up this edge with the top here. So I wanna go ahead and get it how I want it. And I'm just gonna lightly mist it. This will help prevent wrinkles. And you don't need it to be too saturated, but you want it pretty wet. Now let's see if I can get this moved over where you guys can see that better. There we go. And now I'm just going to position my napkin right on down. And it's very delicate, so you want to use a super light hand, but you will be able to pick it up and sort of move it into position. And once you have it into position, just gently with your hands, you're gonna have to get that area at the top, you know, to form around that top there. And the same with down here. So just lightly tap it with your finger. I'm not using the brush here because if I do, chances of me ripping my napkin are pretty great, okay? So, and we just did a video on napkin plates. We did some tiered plates and they just turned out beautiful. I've got some here, so I'll show you those too. So you just go in, lightly tap it down. Now at this point, I would let this dry for about a half hour, maybe a little bit longer. So it really just depends upon how much water. Once you have the water on it and it touches the Mod Podge, it takes a little longer to dry than if you didn't use the water. So I'm gonna let that dry, and once that's dry, you would repeat that step on the back side. And then once that's dry, you can just go ahead and add, before I do that, let's lay our napkin out. So when I'm drying, I just wanna show you that. I like to lay the napkin, and I do re-wet it a little bit. So there we go, lay that out like that and like that. And then we'll be ready. Once this is a little bit set and dry, we can do the back side of it. So once it's completely dry, you can add one of those paper cutouts to the top, and you apply that the same exact way that we did the other candles. You'll just cut out your motif, add your Mod Podge to the back, put it on, and then top coat it. Now, one thing to note though is I do that after the napkin is completely dry. And then you can add a gift tag or whatever you want. So this is one of those 3 for $10 candles, and with just a little bit of work, you really got something that's super cute and gift worthy. But I might keep this for myself. It might be a gift for myself, right? Thank you guys so much for joining us today. I just want to quickly go over and recap what we showed or what we taught you today. Oh, and let me see if I can find that tiered stand. Oh, these are the tiered stands that we made with napkins last week. So these were a dollar store craft, and this is all, it's a little bit messy because I've had my crafts and stuff on it. I'm actually supposed to be using it for cookies and cake, right? But I've got like paints and stuff stored on it. All right, so let's get to the recap, guys. We've got our really pretty one here with our metallic wood paper. I've got the extreme glitter globe, and we did the cute little extreme glitter votive. I love this chunky kind of vintage German glass. Very simple, quick way to make over an inexpensive battery light. We've got our decorative snowy candle, our globe in rose pink that you can float a candle in it or fill it with your fairy lights. And we've got our 2 different jar candles, one with all the whistles and bells with trim, the paper going all the way around. And then we have our napkin design with our fun scrapbook paper on the top. There you go, guys. 8 different ways that you can make over a candle. I cannot wait to see what you guys make. So please make sure you use the hashtags Mod Podge and Plaid Crafts so they can see what you're making. We'll see you guys next Thursday with another video. Make sure you check out our weekend watch parties. Those are great if you've got a little bit more in-depth questions, because there's not as many people joining us, so we can really get down to some of the nitty-gritty of your questions. Thanks, guys. Have a great holiday season.